Sure.
So speaking of more, we're going to move to our next speaker, who is Leslie Watson. Let me just see where she is. Hi, Leslie.
Mhm.
So out of all of the speakers, Leslie is the person I know the longest because she is the first person who ever gave me a break in my career, which was to let me come for 1 week in her fashion studio in Adelaide when she was one of the country's leading designers and still is, and sort of introduced me into this creative world. So I'm in debt to you and super pleased that you're joining us. Since then, you've gone on to do many other things. And so today you're going to be talking about your latest project, which is called By Freer, which I have several pieces of and I love wearing all the time. So I wear them to death. And so that proves that men and women can wear your clothes. And I'm excited to hear. I'm going to be sharing.
Um, okay, so I'm Leslie, and obviously, I would like to acknowledge the beautiful city that I live in, the land of the Gadigal people. It's a very important part of any um, presentation in Australia nowadays. So, yeah, I I guess that my beginning is to be. I felt like the easiest way to explain it is by saying that the day in the life of By Freer, but I guess I want to cement it with brief history of myself. I have been in the rag trade since the 1980s, and I started after studying my degree in a small clothing brand, women's clothing brand in Adelaide. And I started in the factory. I worked on the cutting table doing the bulk cutting. And so I saw the processes that are required for production of a garment. And it was a small, really nice factory to work in. And I worked my way up through the system in that company to become the head designer. So I gained an incredible amount of experience to learn my craft. And I call it a craft because when you create something from nothing, it starts in that way. You have to start with either a fabric or an idea. And so it really is a craft. And I had this incredible background that gave me that. So skip to the now the other end of my career, and I ended up working part-time after I had children at retail, in a retail boutique women's wear, and in the similar market areas to what I had worked as a designer. And I saw the retail end of the business. So I ended up being the manager of the store, doing all the buying, managing the staff, and I really got a feel for retail. And so the culmination of that really is By Freer. So I decided to start in a really small manner to create a product that I felt like I had an idea for that was a little bit unique, because that's one of the things I learned about retail is that you have to have your own handle, because if you don't, your product will probably, just sit next to other product that could look similar. So you have to have something a bit unique. And I started making this product, and my partner saw the sort of beginnings of that, and he thought it looked like a really good idea, so he decided to join me. And that's how By Freer started, is with my partner and I. So, and it was about 12 years ago, and I started with a very small amount of money, so I decided that I would do it in a very small way, so I would do it that didn't have to take a lot of money. And really, it was just the idea of it was really because I thought I could create a product I could do it in a different way than how it traditionally is done and how I knew. And it was about creating beautiful garments, but in using slightly different methods, as sustainable as it can be. It's very difficult in the rag trade to be sustainable. So, but you can be ethical and you can treat people properly and you can create great relationships. And that's how I saw about creating a new product. So that was really the idea for me. So because I understood that design was the whole processes, really, basically, that was sort of the beginning of the idea, because I could design something from nothing. I could see the manufacturing through, I could make the patterns, and I could sell it on the shop floor and see it walk out the store in the customer's bag. So it was, for me, it's I can understand every part of the process. So that makes it really, I guess, gives me a really good background into doing what I do. But also, I felt like, I wanted to work on this part of my life and to have fun. And that's actually really one of the most important things that for me in life is to have fun and create fun in my work environment. So I could do that by being my own boss. And yeah, so that's something that's one of our main goals in the company, is that everybody, we have great relationships and we work towards a common goal and have a good time doing it and have a laugh. It really is very important, the amount of time that we spend at work. So but I guess also knowing that the product that I wanted to create was also an inspiration. I wanted to create a product that was easy to care for and was really comfortable to wear. And that was sort of my point of difference from the products I was used to selling in particular. So I would see women come and buy silk shirts and then they would have to go to the dry cleaner. So, for me, I thought that was I didn't think that was a very good way to type a garment to produce. So I decided that everything I would make, I would wash, and it would give the finish of the garment that I required. And it's a particular finish. It's looks like it's already been washed and worn, has raw edges, and it's also creating a design that has a timelessness to it as well too, is also, I think, incredibly important. In As a designer, you can mainly be most sustainable by creating goods that last a long time, as long as they can, and you can get a lot of wear out of them. So that sort of really was probably my main mantra. And we also made a decision early in our course to manufacture locally here in Australia, as a company, that we can support local makers here in Australia. It's quite a difficult industry because most companies have gone offshore to do their manufacturing. So the challenge is to make garments for the right price and work with local makers that are left here and establish those great relationships. Yeah, it's probably, again, the really key sort of important points for me. So, and also having skills, like I have the pattern making skills, so that therefore I can work on the fit to that point where you create the fit to be so good that people, it's hard for them not to buy it, really, almost. Again, I've worked in stores and see garments that are really bad fit, so there's no point in going to all that work and making something that doesn't fit right. So because of my pattern making background, I sort of know how to get to that point. And sometimes, obviously, it takes a long time. Again, it's part of the craft, and it's a very important part. And we work really hard to get that. I have a team of a couple of girls who help me. So that's also another really important part of By Freya. The retail shop floor and online, I have an incredible team of 2 or 3 people that really help inform me about what's selling at retail. I sometimes work on the floor myself. So for a designer to be talking to the customers and getting the feedback, again, it's invaluable knowledge, really. It really helps form the product, and it gives us, a great lot of credibility. People understand, they come to one of the stores where we have it set up. Behind the store is the studio, so they can see through the glass that we have this facility where they see the beginning of the garment, and fabrics draped on the dummies, people making patterns, and yeah, it's a really cool theory, and I really loved the idea of doing it that way from the beginning as well too, so that people really got to see how it started, how the garment starts its life. So we have also, we do, for the stores, we do also source a few other products as well that we believe are produced more sustainably. So that's in line with our ethics, and things that are made out of plastic bottles. We have a great shoe brand from Amsterdam that's made out of old sneakers, made up of old sneakers. So, you know, trying to promote other products as well too that fit into some of that sort of category. So I'm just going to share a little video of day in the life with our makers. So this is one of the little factories that we work with, and yeah, we have great relationships with people. So, and that's really important to Andrew and my partner and I, that we cultivate that, because a lot of these people are very, you know, there's small businesses local, depending on local business, and you know, they have to pay their bills as much as we do. So we believe that you know, we pay all our bills on the day we receive our invoices, which is something unusual in the rag trade, but it's all part of the sustainability policy. Really, to sustain a good business, you have to have your sums right and pay your people properly. So that all those things come into play for us in our business. So with our designing, it usually starts with the textiles, which we sometimes source from dead stock. So, which is a really good way of using up old fabrics that are lying around people haven't used, and therefore that sometimes informs our design. We start with that, and we work in by trying to create original work. We have a very simple style, but we have quite intricate finishes. So, and it's the sort of thing that looks like it's very simple and there's not much to it, but actually there's been a lot of research and development being put into how it's finished. And again, that's one of our points of difference from other products in the marketplace. And also the textiles that we use, because the mantra is to be easy care and feel good, you generally have to use natural fibers. And again, that comes from me personally, of course, you know, that's what I prefer to wear. So it's important for the environment and for, yeah, it informs the product in a way that when most people come and see the product, they get a little bit surprised, because a lot of manufacturers aren't doing that. A lot of manufacturers are using polyester cloth yarns, and we don't do a lot of that because I simply don't like the feel of it. It's not comfortable to wear. So with our designing, we, you know, really make sure that all those things come into play, and we work on waste reduction. So when we do our cuttings, we make sure that the patterns fit so that we don't waste a lot of fabric. We sometimes do companion cutting styles so that we can cut two styles together. It's quite a complicated process to do. We make our patterns in the old-fashioned way. Start with a paper pattern and a cardboard pattern. So it's quite, in this era of digitalization, it's a little bit unusual. And yeah, we sort of, I guess those methods help us reduce our carbon footprint. By using the local makers, you know, we're around the corner. We can quickly easily converse with them, go and see them. I have the picture there of the studio that's behind the store. That's one of the stores there. So that's where it's, again, we don't have a lot of toing and froing sort of thing, because we make, in a way, it was just for me about trying to make it as easy as what we can, actually. And yeah, you sort of have when you're doing things like that, doing things in a more sustainable way, you have design constraints. But I'm really happy to work with that sort of thing because if that means we can create something a bit more interesting, with that, that's what helps create a different product, I guess, too. So just show a little video. We also do run a very small program about where we take old denim garments and we relux them. So this is a small program that I try to run. It's very time consuming and not very cost effective, but I've called it reimagined reluxed. But again, it's just a small way where we can try and work with old consumer textiles and redesign them, remake them, and yeah, I guess lots of little things like that we do. We're a small company, but we try and do lots of little practices. So I think they add up to be good practice. So we do a lot of washing with our garments. So when we get our garments back from our makers, instead of them being encased in plastic bags, which we insist on not using, we have them all, they all come in together, no plastic. We set about washing them, or we send them to the laundry to be washed, and then the garments get the correct finish on them for me. So, and that's again, it's another way of making the garments finish look how I like the finish, and makes it easy for the consumer so that they can wash the garments and no dry cleaning involved. And when we package the garments up, we use with our swing tags. When we sell the garment, we take the swing tags off, we take the stickers off, and we reuse them. We wrap in recycled tissue. We use brown recycled bags. So again, we try and I often ask people, the girls ask people, do you want to take it in a bag or do you just want to take it wrapped in tissue? And you give people the choice. So we don't have fancy packaging. And even though we are quite an expensive product, I still don't believe that we need to have expensive, beautiful packaging, which of course I really love. But I feel like it gets, a lot of the time it gets thrown in the rubbish bin. So again, it's just a waste. It's just another piece of waste. So that's the sort of things that I can do as a small company that's different from everybody else. And the other thing that we do is the limited production runs. So we don't cut we don't do overruns. We sell out of most of our products, and if they're a good seller, we will repeat them if I can get something similar fabric, or I order the same fabric again if I can. So it's sort of a supply and demand type of model where we're delivering new product into our stores quite regularly. We don't do big collections where we work 6 to 10 months ahead, and we deliver into store regularly, so our customers always have a new product to look at. But it's always a small delivery, and if they don't get in quick, often they miss out, sort of thing. And the good clients who have joined what we call the Buy Freer cult have learnt that if they don't get in quickly, they often will miss out. So it's a really interesting philosophy, the limited production runs, because it just means that we move on to the next thing. And we use when we go to the makers, like when I first started using one of the makers, I saw the wall of cottons in her factory with lots of colors and all this thing, and I said to her, can I just use up these cottons, instead of me specifying a certain color cotton, we just used her cottons that she had already sitting there, dead stock cotton. And that led to me doing contrast coloured stitching, which is part of our design feature. So all those little things that have gone into making the product what it is today is mainly due to trying to introduce sustainable practice, really, better practice. So with the also with the ethical practice too, with dealing with the makers, making sure that we're fair to them and we give them fair prices. We go to their facilities, we see how their workers, the conditions that they work under, it's just so much better to know when you know that stuff about what you're doing, is that it's being done in the correct way. So so I guess, I'm a very positive person, and for me, creativity equals hope. And I think that, forums like this obviously are very, very encouraging. And I'd like to also just say thank you to Philip and to Lee for the opportunity for me to talk about my little business that started in my bedroom and has grown. We've just opened our third shop in Sydney, and so we're sort of on quite an exciting growth pattern, and giving people jobs, giving people work, and doing it all locally, and that's really what I believe in. So it's wonderful for me to be able to fulfill that.
Leslie, this is amazing. This is a message for all students in the world, I think. You should make a little learning book for fashion schools, because everybody is asking the question, how can I make a new company? How can I do things differently? And you
Yes.
just laid out, all the very simple, they're not so simple in real life, but all
No,
the
but
the rules you made for yourself. And I think it's a very important learning also for everybody listening. Please send it to schools and students, because it's the thing we're missing actually in education, very much so. Thank you so
yes. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's an entire system. So thank you very much, Leslie.
Yeah, I guess I should just say that I think it's really hard I know in Australia, I'm not sure in Europe, for the students to get the experience of the what factories are like and that, because the industry is been so decimated. And I've had 3 or 4 or 5 young people come through here, and they love it, because they're getting to see the whole the the whole process, and it's so much more inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I love the name, of course, because it says it all. You're free and you're so thank you. So